Hey guys, Palsteron here, and I just want to make a quickie video here because I'm having the same discussion every day. It is Groundhog Day over and over again when it comes to the poison nerfs and why it's not as big of a deal as you think it is, especially the temporal chains nerf. So now instead of poison on enemies expiring 40% slower, it actually only expires 25% slower. I'll spare you the details, but it wasn't 40% more damage, it was actually 66% more damage. I think, yeah, it's now actually 33% more damage, not 25%. But, and here we start the explanation, it's actually not more damage, it's more poison duration, which POB will tell you it's more damage. But in reality, it's a little bit more complicated. So as you can see, I removed my Azanovs here just real quickly to see the poison DPS. 33% more poison duration. I just went from 9 million to 6.7 million, right? That's a really big deal. In total, that comes out to 25% less damage. Do note though that I have no curse effect scaling on this version of Lightning Strike Poison. So for example, if you're somebody who paths over there and you go to Steeped in Profane, and you also path through this, you're going to have a different effect. My poison duration just went from 6.26 to 4.66 seconds. And the damage also fell a lot lower, from kind of like 9 milli to 6.7. But the way Path of Building calculates this is a little bit odd. I understand why they do it, but this is your maximum potential damage. Let me just explain you why. Now, Path of Building cares about what is your maximum poison duration. So for example, if it is 6.2 seconds, that means that the number you see in here is you standing there for 6.2 seconds, attacking, and stacking poisons, and that will be the damage you see in here, your maximum potential damage. After you hit that number, what happens is you flatline because your first poisons then start running out, and you're still applying poisons, so at that point, you're not gaining any more DPS. Same goes for the nerfed temporal chains at 4.6 second duration. What you see here is not what you get at the start. And this used to be a huge problem with like people giving you these assassins, right? With like infinite poison duration, like 20-second durations. Just think about playstyle-wise when this will ever be relevant. Like when do you ever stand there for 6 seconds against an enemy? Think about most of your situations, like mapping situations. I would say basically never. And sure, against something like Ubers, this is definitely a nerf, but you have to also understand poison has a cap, right? And if you're doing Ubers, you're probably doing a lot of damage and you're trying to do a lot of damage. So you can probably reach that cap anyways. If you don't know, dot cap is around about 36 million dot DPS. You can't really scale your dot higher. So in general, what I think this will actually do is make poison builds a lot more honest with their damage estimations. Especially if you think how a poison build maps. First up, Plague Bearer does most of your damage anyways. And the second thing is, you just want your first poison to tick fast enough so the first mob explodes, so your explosions can take care of the pack, right? So what's the conclusion? Poison builds are fine. 99% of the content that you run will not be affected whatsoever, even if POB tells you it does. Another thing this will do is curse effect is less desirable, and that's something that I think is probably a good thing. Steeped in Profane was kind of OP, honestly, on most poison builds, as well as that these small nodes definitely take a hit. Another side effect will be faster poison is probably going to be less desirable. The way faster poison and poison duration kind of like kept each other in check, you're not going to need as much faster poison anymore to keep your poison duration down and give you more damage. At some point, you're going to reach too low of a poison duration, so maybe that's going to be a little bit of a thing. I'm still using it, I think on this build as well. Yeah, I'm still using it. It doesn't show up in poison DPS, right? Sorry, in full DPS, but it does show up in poison DPS. It's a really feels good stat. Like I said, for example, in mapping, the first mob just gets killed faster, so everything explodes faster. So while I would probably still take the mastery because it's just too efficient, I'm not sure if I would seek out too many other sources now. So another side effect here will be that poison duration will be more desirable because you can get back up to 5 seconds. For example, I usually don't want to go higher than 5 seconds because I know the damage up top is kind of going to be wasted, never really going to be realized anyways. But now Circling Oblivion is just back to being actually GG instead of just POB padding. Another thing about poison duration is we lost another 15%. Also more reason that you want more poison duration. This cluster got reworked, so you're losing 15% here, you're losing increased damage, which is actually really good on poison, really wanted. Dot multis wanted, and now instead of just that, let's see, the PoE planner I think is updated, yeah. You get 5% faster, 5% faster and 15% faster. This cluster is more made for bleed and Ignite builds. It's still okay on poison builds, but you're definitely not going to go out of your way to path here anymore. And I don't think this is going to be a good anoint on poison builds either. So you lose another bit of duration, which is a pretty big hit for something like Poison Molten Strike that used to be in this region to pick up the shield nodes. And I guess after all of that, builds that got hard carried by poison could be a little bit in trouble. Obviously, if you take away from the top end, not that big of a deal for most poison builds. Poison's already so strong. But some of the builds that were very low damage and were enabled by poison to do whatever they want to do, that might be a little bit of a problem. Something that I would think about maybe, for example, is Blade Vortex Poison. One change that I would have personally liked more is you can tone it down overall, but I would have liked if they made it scale with levels, right? Like they did with a lot of the other curses. For example, other effects on cursed enemies expire 40% slower. This is the same on a level 20 and a level 1, right? It doesn't scale at all. So that's why stuff like Azinuff's or Glove Corruption for level 1 temporal chains is just so goddamn strong. Make it scaling, and now all of a sudden you might have to use a Mark of Submission to actually use the level 20 version. But I think it's still a step in the right direction. I think if any build kind of deserved a Leaguestart nerf, it is probably poison builds. But yeah, with that being said, I still don't have a slogan. See you next time.